say, I don't know, just 3-2. This season will be a disappointment, unequivocally. You will not have a good taste in your mouth, and you will not feel good about the coaching staff, period. That's where we're at. That's where we're at. They should rest up, get healthy, attack these 5 games with the opportunity at hand to have a good season, almost great season. If you win all 5 and you go 9-3, ain't nobody mad about nothing. There might be a mild lament over the 3-game losing streak that we just finished. There might be frustration centering around, obviously, the NC State loss that you let get away. Fine. But you won't bemoan it forevermore, because 9-3, without question, would be a huge success and a building block towards more success, a better recruiting class, and opportunities to compete for and win the conference. That's what you're looking for now with these remaining 5 games. These games, Georgia Tech, starting with Georgia Tech, which, by the way, we found out today, noon kickoff. Seems apt for that game. Florida State on a 3-game losing streak. Georgia Tech is disinteresting to everybody, even Georgia Tech fans. So here we go. Fine, noon. Win that game, dominate that game without question. If you don't, it's answering questions for you already. You know where we sit. You lose that game, the season is off the rails, period. Then you have Miami. Then you have Syracuse on the road. That's going to be a war. Then you have Louisiana. And then you host Florida, who's a bit of a mess, especially defensively. You can win all 5 games. It wouldn't even be that shocking. Wouldn't even be that shocking if you won all 5 games. You certainly should go at least 4-1 in those games. 3-2 will be a failure. 3-2 will be a failure. 7-5 will be a failure. You started 4-0, should not finish 7-5. Now, it's hard to kind of get your mind around that, because you're right now thinking about the current set of losses, 3 in a row. You kind of live in that world for a while because it just happened and it's frustrating. Say it with me, kids. Wins and losses happen for a reason, and they elicit emotion. You might intellectually say before this 3-game stretch, I think they lose all 3. But then you lose all 3, and it affects you, even if you knew it was coming, because you saw the games. You saw the plays that could have been made. You saw the mistakes that were made. You saw certain coaching decisions you didn't like. You saw a lack of execution in key moments of football games that cost you the game. But if you go back to what your mindset was before the start of the year, and you go back to thinking about this the way you did before the stretch of games were played, you'd say it's not unreasonable to have lost the games that Florida State lost. Clemson's a better football team than Florida State. Wake Forest is a better football team than Florida State. NC State's not. That one hurts. Not going to lie. We came on the air that Monday and said, this one hurts. Shouldn't have lost this game. But frankly, I'm not distraught by the 3-game losing streak. I'm eager to see what they do next. Now you have to prove, because I sense that they're a lot better than they were a year ago. I think we all know that. I think they're moving in the right direction. I think Mike's the right guy. They have holes to fill. He makes mistakes. That's everybody. But I think he's the right guy, and the program's moving in the right direction. But you got to go prove that by going out and playing really well in these next 5 games. It can't be that you regress. It can't be that you lose these 3 games, players begin looking around, become selfish, frustrated, lose focus, pity party. And I don't think it will be. But the games will be the evidence. We'll find out if they go and play well. I think they're going to smash Georgia Tech. I don't think that'll be much of a game. I don't care that Georgia Tech's playing better. Doesn't matter. I think Florida State will win that game going away. The stretch where you're going to kind of have to buckle up is the road game against Miami, who's not playing well. They looked like ass again against Virginia Tech. Syracuse continues to be the surprise story of the year in the ACC. You'll kill Louisiana, and then we've got Florida at the end of the year. So now's the time. You get Fabian Lovett back, one would presume, for this stretch. he makes a huge difference, would have made a big difference in this game against Clemson on Saturday night. Didn't play. I worried about it all week long. We speculated that he probably wouldn't play. Didn't play. Had he played, Shipley's numbers aren't as good. Florida State has a chance to win the game. He didn't play. Shipley's numbers were great. He was good. Florida State lost the game. I know there's a whole lot more to it, but he's a key component of what you're trying to do up front, and not having him post LSU is very frustrating because we keep waiting and waiting, but in the interim, you got games, you got to find a way, and they've done a pretty good job against the run. They've found a way to kind of muscle up. I've been more concerned with the back end. Frankly, your safety play, which we thought would be a plus, has not been. Neither of those two individuals have played well. Noles sucked on Saturday. He sucked all year. Duke Cooper's been a massive disappointment, and that's frustrating. So really the back end is where I'm frustrated, but that group would be helped out also if Fabian Love could get back. So, that's the group that I'm going to look at. We'll talk at the end of the year about what changes might need to be made defensively. You got to get some better players in here, that's for sure. But the back end is not real good.
Just in this particular matchup last year, you needed a lot of things to go right for you in order to be in a game, into the second half. This one, you found a way to not be in the game early in the second half. It's that short circuiting of the final 2 minutes before halftime, the first 2 minutes of the third quarter that are the death knell. And before that point, you're going toe-to-toe. It's a 50-50 ball game.
Yeah, it is. I agree with you.
That's the hard part about this.
That's what this team does, though.
Correct.
I mean, this is what they do. That's who they are.
Not an isolated incident.
No, this is who they are. They will fail you in key situations, this team. And if you play good teams, you lose games when you fail in those situations. And Florida State always fails in those situations.
Which is the hard part for me to take because it is more difficult to go toe-to-toe with Clemson than it is to do this kind of stuff. This is the easier stuff. You put yourself in a position to be rewarded, and you don't take advantage of it. And I think the NC State loss, the manner in which you lost, colors the emotions that everybody felt on Saturday night into yesterday. You're still pissed off about what you let slip away the week before.
Yeah, that one hurts, man.
So
I'm still mad about that game.
It feeds into how you feel about this one.
I'm not mad about this game. I actually thought that we played pretty well. I hate that little sequence that you just talked about. That cost us the game. Jordan's got to hold on to the ball. It's his fourth fumble this year. He's got to do better. He's got to do better. I blame him for that. He saw it coming. You go back and look at it. He can see it coming. You can't fumble there. You cannot fumble there. He did. And that cost you the game because they score, and that's it. The game was over. Now, you made sure it was over by allowing a huge kickoff to start the second half and then a touchdown on the first play. You made sure there was no chance you were going to win that game at that moment, which is also something Florida State's good at.
I think the final nail potentially was the obvious fake punt attempt. That's a panicky move. It's one drive for your offense into the third quarter. I'd rather, if you're going to go for it, go for it. They know, they're alert to a fake there. That is a underlined, bold, and italic moment for where would we fake it, if ever. I'd rather you run an offensive play. That's going to have a better chance to succeed. But either way, I'd punt. You're one offensive drive into the second half.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about fake punts, when they work, you're a genius and nobody questions the timing. When they fail, you're an idiot. Why would you ever do that? I'm not saying you're that guy. I'm just saying that generally speaking, because it's a risk, it's a huge risk that you're taking when you fake a punt. And when it works, everybody, we celebrate it in lore and talk about it forevermore. The national championship game, I think Auburn knew it was coming. They just didn't stop it.
That's because Carlos Williams is on the field.
Yes.
We did not snap the ball to Carlos Williams on Saturday or hand it to him on a reverse.
Right. Yeah. No. That's where the better players thing comes into play. But I just, again, I'm not going to get caught up in that. I think you were already beat at that point. Yes, that cements it, but I think you were already beat at that point. I'm not mad about the game per se. I actually think Florida State did a lot of things much better than I thought they would. I for one, did not believe that there was any chance in hell Florida State could line up and run outside zone against Clemson. And they did, like a boss. I mean, kudos to this offensive staff and that game plan, because I was dead wrong. Thought there was zero chance with these sorry-ass tight ends of ours that we could line up and run the ball effectively, utilizing them in the manner that we did. And we did. And that was Very impressive and deserves a hat tip. By the way, that too is a trend. If we're going to talk about the negative trends, which we can and should, we should also point to the very many positive trends, which is that this group will game plan. This coaching staff does a very good job of putting together game plans against teams that have more talent. They did even last year when they lost games. We were frustrated with last season, but they did even in those instances where they didn't have a right to compete in the second half of the season and did.
But what's interesting and buoying about this game is it's not because you had 3 trick plays that worked for 80-yard touchdowns.
You moved them.
You
moved them off the ball.
Sustained runs.
It was really shocking.
Who runs on Clemson like that?
Nobody but us. Nobody but us. It was stunning. They were in shock. You could see it. Clemson was like, what in the world? We broke some things out with that we've not shown before. They game planned. They did a great job. Very proud of that game plan. It gave them a chance. That's why it was 14-14, and you could have won the game. But you didn't because, well, you don't. This is what you've done in this 3-game losing streak. This is against the good teams. You blink first. You blink. You come out and prove that you're worthy. You come out and show you're there to play to win. You do that every week, even against teams that I'm telling you I think are better than Florida State. That's what we do. That's a sign of good coaching. But there are signs of bad coaching too, because they always blink. They always are the first situationally to blow it. It's frustrating. It's part of the process. I get that. In the moment, though, I feel those same waves of emotion that fans feel and the frustration that bubbles to the surface, and you want something to be done about it, but it's part of the process.
It is, and it's part of the process for the coaching staff, too. To me, one of the hidden drives in this game that really hurt you is you score, you get a stop, you get a great punt return to midfield, and you call screen, gadget play, which is your offensive line diving at the feet of defensive linemen for a quick hitch, and that's blown up nearly intercepted.
Mm-hmm.
And then on 3rd and long, you call another screen, and you punt.
It was a tough sequence, Tom.
2 screens and a trick?
It was a tough sequence. Yeah.
Considering that they were able to generically move the ball. Yeah.
Well, but again, I want to point out that is not unique to Mike.
No, not at all.
Coaches, for whatever reason, refuse to believe what they're seeing. They never do. While it's happening, you planned on it to happen. It's working. Stay with it.
Yeah, and how about Dabo off his own goal line after the goal line stand? He does the same thing. He's trying to go Jimbo 2013 and take a shot on 1st down inside the 5-yard line, and then they call a play on 3rd down. So they did it too.
Yeah, no,
you're right. It's not just
it's
not a FSU specific thing.
No, it's not, and that's why when I see it, I can complain and lament and say that's stupid. Don't do that. But it happens. That sequence, that out of left field sequence that coaches seem to reach back for because they don't trust what they're seeing. I don't know where that comes from. But again, it's not unique to us. It happens all over the country all the time. How many games do we all watch and go, what are you doing? Run the ball. You're having massive amounts of success running the ball. Why would you call a reverse there? Why would you, we do that. We all do that. And we see coaches do it and we just think, what are you doing? This game doesn't, I hesitate to say it doesn't bother me. I would have liked to have won the game, especially getting the evidence that we got in the first, say, 25 minutes of the game.
Yeah, that's the thing. There was a sentiment out there yesterday that this was almost a back in your hole, you frauds kind of result. And I just don't see that. I don't understand that.
No, Florida State was an underdog, and deservedly so. Florida State wasn't with their best players. They weren't healthy. They played fine. I'm not, listen, it's the NC State game, be mad about.
Yeah.
Be mad about the NC State game. There are a lot of problems with that game. Coaching, players, Jordan, receivers. Oh, there are a lot of problems in that game. And you lose 19-17. You gave that game away. Gave it away. That's that game. That should stick with you. Wake, no. Wake's better. Better quarterback. Really well coached. Veteran team. Big receivers. They just made plays. Our back end's not very good, Tom. I'm really frustrated with the back end of the defense. They're just not good.
They get credit for developing that group last year, but they're regressing this year.
Yeah.
They have regressed.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Omarion
It's terrible.
should not be on the field.
Yeah, I think you're getting into a place now where you can start playing the other guys because
after the long touchdown play where clearly Akeem Dent assumed something was going to happen that didn't. I saw Shaheem Brown on the field really quickly thereafter.
Mhm.
And he's going to make some mistakes, but he's going to make them at 100 miles an hour for you.
Well, and I think Kazarian Thomas would, and I think that's this is stuff that we're going to start seeing. I'm going to be interested if we see a new right tackle. And I'm not talking about starting necessarily, but starting to play quite a bit. I think you can with Armella, especially now that you have the bye week to prepare him. Georgia Tech, you could break him out. There's some guys you're going to start seeing, I think, here. But all is not lost here. Nothing is screwed up here, man. They're going to be okay. The NC State game still hurts. I'm still talking about it now. I'm going to leave it alone. I won't mention it anymore. This isn't the game to be angry about. There are situations and plays that bother you. There are moments that upset you because the game is slipping away in those moments. But Clemson's clearly a better football team than Florida State.
Yeah, the thing is, for NC State, you cost yourself a win. With Clemson, you played so poorly in key situations, that you cost yourself a chance to win.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
There's the difference.
Yeah.
You would have had a chance to win this football game.
You could have, yeah.
But you would have won the previous one if you didn't screw
without
things
question.
up.
I actually think if Florida State had answered the NC State touchdown to start the second half, the game's over. We're one touchdown away from the game being over, but they couldn't get anything going. They could the 3 and out. They couldn't get anything going. And that killed them. But this game, I mean, we make a valiant attempt at coming back, but I agree with Mike. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that comeback. I'm not responding to tweets and emails about how hard they fought. They're good. We've established they fight hard. They should. That should be the baseline. Mike said that. Coach Norvell brought that up when he was credited. When somebody brought that up, it was good to see the fight. I'm not talking about this game. He brought it up again, but I'm saying he brought it up last year.
Yeah.
Last year, somebody said it's good to see the fight. He's like, well, he almost looked at them incredulous, like, well, what the hell? Yes, yeah, they're going to fight. And he's right. That should be a baseline. You should never be questioning whether or not your kids are going to play hard.
The positive part about that is that the look in Jordan's eyes was different this time than the previous 2 weeks, which I think is notable since we picked on it for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
In the fourth quarter, there wasn't I'm shutting down on everybody.
No. He played, yeah.
That's good.
He continued to fight. They all did. That's good. I mean, I had already put that to rest in my mind. I had already said earlier this year, they're never going to quit. They're not that team. We know who they are. We know what they are. They're a flawed team in a lot of areas. They're a better team in a lot of areas. They're a passionate team. They care deeply about each other, about the program, about their coaches. I don't worry about that aspect of it ever when they go out onto the field. I know they're going to keep fighting. They could be down 50-0, and I wouldn't question it. I think they're going to fight. Now, I'd question other things if they were down 50-0, but they're going to fight. So I don't have a problem with that. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Every day, Sellers makes life a little better for homeowners, helping them find the best design ideas for their homes with the best quality tile, carpet, and hardwood flooring. Even mosaics, ceramic, and vinyl solutions are at their fingertips in their remarkable showroom. Maybe it's time for you to get the Sellers advantage for your home or office. Find them on Capitol Circle Northeast, just north of Mahan Drive, or online at sellerstile.com. For style, quality, and design, get the Sellers advantage. In Tallahassee, call 656-8453.
So let's say you're considering buying a new home in the current climate. All heard that demand is high, inventory is low. So how do you get a leg up on the rest of the buyers all making offers on the same house as you? Oh, that's a toughie. But the first place I'd suggest you start is with a call to my friend Shannon at Legendary Home Loans. Shannon will set you up with a complete pre-approval underwriting. It used to be an upgrade, but nowadays it's got to be standard. You want to get your offer on a new home pushed to the front of the line, you need a TBD full underwriting approval from Legendary Home Loans. You'll shorten or even remove your financing contingency, and the sellers will know that your offer is real and ready to go. It's tough out there these days, folks, so why not have the advantage of a proven winning team in your huddle? Get pre-approval underwriting from my friend Shannon with the one and only Legendary Home Loans. Call now, 844-FSU-LOAN, 844-FSU-LOAN, or just visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSU Home Loans,
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 2270146.
Imagine for a moment that you are completely weightless with zero gravity. All of your worries and stress melt away. Your mind stops racing and you fall into a profound state of pure relaxation. This is available to you right now at Tallulah Delta 8 Plus Floating in Railroad Square for just $50. These state-of-the-art floating pods are unlike anything else you've ever experienced, and while you're there, you can shop for some of the latest and greatest CBD and Delta 8 products on the market. Natural pain management, stress relief, and better sleep are all at your fingertips at Tallulah. Tell them Jeff Cameron sent you and thank me later. Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Football at El Jalisco, football at El Jalisco, what a combination. It's a great big celebration. It's football at El Jalisco. I can dig it. Who's playing? Oh, man, everybody. The ACC, the SEC, all the C's, and even the pros. The Bucks, the Steelers, the Giants, the Cowboys. Wow, far out. You bet, man. When the game is on, it's on at El Jalisco with incredible specials on everything from frosty cervezas to salty margaritas. Does Margarita know? Dios mío, not again. The best place to watch the game is El Jalisco. College, pros, Monday night, Thursday night, you name it, El Jalisco is football headquarters. And with 5 Tallahassee area locations, there's probably an El Jalisco right around the corner right now.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
It froze. It's all right. Shake it off, everybody. So that's what Florida State has to do. Professional segue. Don't try it at the house. They have to win these next 5 games or 4 of them. They have to get in line, ready to play, button up, play well, win situations, and win these games. They're all winnable games. I think most of us would agree with that. Sorry, I haven't been looking at the chat. Z-Chan, thank you so much, man. I'll read that in just 1 second.
And we're back.
So I think it's imperative for Mike that they win these games, these very winnable games. I think it's very important for him in recruiting. I think it's very important for him the way he's perceived by this fan base. The majority of our fan base likes Mike Norvell an awful lot. Even the ones that would question some moments, decision-making, those kinds of things, right? They still, I think they still believe in Mike because he's successfully flipped the culture, because the team does play hard, because they are appreciably, as I like to say, better than they were a year ago. We've seen those moments of incremental improvement, right? And we see how hard they fight. So I just don't think anybody wants to start over. But at the same time, you got to win here, man. You have to win here. This is Florida State.
Yeah, one of the things that came up during the watch along, and I thought it was a good thought from Dominic Robinson, which is, you could see the progress, but that feeling and that knowledge is a day-by-day deal. If you don't validate what we're seeing in these losses by taking advantage of teams that are worse than you down the stretch here, then you are going to come back to where we are today, which is you let one slip, and you let chances to win meaningful football games
Mhm.
slip through your fingers because of self-inflicted wounds. And now that becomes your identity. But the full picture of the 2022 season is not in view yet. We've got a huge chunk of it.
Oh, these 5 games are of vital importance.
I like what I'm seeing so far. Sounds like you like what you're seeing so far out of this group. But you have to go and do what you're supposed to do now, which is I agree with you. I think 4 is the number, provided that you don't
You
have
can't go 7-5, Tom.
crazy injury luck again.
Wow.
Provided that something like that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are teams that you should beat.
Yeah.
And so go do it.
Oh, without question. You're better than Miami. You're better than Florida. You're
Yep.
better than Georgia Tech. You're better than Louisiana. Probably better than Syracuse. We'll see. I don't know. It might be a coin flip game, but
Yeah, if it's a night kick in the
yeah,
Carrier Dome,
we'll
it's
see,
strange.
right? But you're better. You're better than the teams that I just listed. So go win the games. Go win the games. And by the way, I don't think it's crazy to think they will. I don't think it's crazy to say that they will. Jason, greetings from Germany. He says he's flying in this week, and hopefully, if he convinces his wife, they're going to go to try and make it to the corner pocket before the game. Well, it won't be for this week. You mean the Georgia Tech game, Jason? Because that would suck if you showed up and there's no game.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't
I mean,
fly
now you
from
can go to
Germany
corner
and
pocket
just-
on a Friday. That's
you
a
can
great
absolutely
time.
do that. But yeah, you want to make sure you can do the right thing there. Noel Kev, thank you, and Z-Chan, thank you. I did not put Z-Chan back up there. Just a reminder for all those who forgot, we're an unranked team who just went toe-to-toe with the top 5 team and almost won. Getting people to understand that is like pulling teeth. I'm proud of our boys. Just got to keep climbing and taking care of business. Given that he's a dentist, that's funny. Well done, Z-Chan. Thanks, as always. Jordan, you talked last week about why FSU shouldn't storm the field if we beat Clemson. 3 teams stormed the fields last week in Colorado, Georgia, Southern, Tennessee. Celebrations warranted? Not really. I don't know for Tennessee, guys. They'd lost 15 years in a row, right?
That might be a special exemption.
I mean, Alabama beat that ass on the regular.
I couldn't legally drink yet the last time they beat Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, I might. In Colorado, good God. Those poor people are getting high for the wrong reasons most Saturdays. And Georgia Southern, I don't know why the hell you're ever storming the field. But anyhow, this is, again, I'm not that angry about this game. There are a couple of things that I wish hadn't happened that frustrate me. But I'm not angry. I was angry about NC State. But I really found myself, even during this game, when it was clearly over, I'm glad we fought. It got interesting. Clemson tried to let us back in, and we fought hard enough to get back in. But it was 34-14 at one point. Yeah, at 34-14, I was thinking a lot about, A, don't get beat by 50. B, just for recruiting purposes.
Dabo was trying too.
Oh, no, he wanted. No, sure he did, and he should. If I'm him, I try to run that up. He had to have been frustrated.
Yeah, the holding call on the walk-in touchdown is that's a legitimate foul, but they're very close in that moment.
Oh,
you end up getting a field goal stop on that drive.
Yeah, they're about to blow us out.
Yeah.
And if I'm him, recognizing that Florida State is better, which he did after the game, first time I ever have to give him credit. If I'm recognizing that Florida State is a team on the come, that they're getting better, that they're better coached, that they're working hard, that
Don't
they're
let
playing,
this guy get players.
That's right. You're thinking to yourself, damn it, I don't need this. I don't need a fully functioning Florida State. Part and parcel to Clemson's run has been our demise, right? That's how these things become dynasties. When we're great, typically speaking, Florida and Miami are not operating at peak efficiency, not both. Now, there has that one moment in time where everybody in the state was dominant, and then hence it was captured historically on the front cover of Sports Illustrated. But it's very rare. Usually one's taking advantage of the other's demise, decline, or current status of not being where they should be. That's true in the ACC for Clemson and Florida State. Like, Clemson is allowed to be Clemson so long as Florida State and Miami aren't good. It becomes real easy for them to just dominate because they're the only other football school in the conference.
Well, and then they can come in unfettered
And
with
take
access
players
into the state of Florida. The competition that they have in the state of Florida is Alabama. It's Ohio State. It's not the guys that actually are operating programs in the state of Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is, he recognizes that and wants to blow us out every time he plays us. This is 2 years in a row he hasn't. This is 2 years in a row where he's had to breathe a sigh of relief that they just won the game.
2 years in a row, he's had a hell of a lot more talent and goes, what in the hell?
Yes.
How are we here?
Well, frustratedly, I'm sure, right? So, again, that's a sign for Florida State. You don't get credit for competing. You don't get credit for just playing hard. I mean, good. You're supposed to. We're beyond that now. You had to take the way I look at these next 5 games and the way I look at the program is when you hired Mike Norvell, obviously we've done all the analogies. I've talked about being in the back alley, drunk, laying next to the dumpster and all that stuff. We've had fun with it over the years, wanting to clean ourselves up and move to a nice neighborhood and get a good job and all that stuff. We have fun with it. But really, if you just use the age-old, walk before you run analogy, right? Like, you wanted to see, can we take some steps forward? Can we show signs that we're collectively getting it together? And that happened. That happened pretty quickly behind the scenes, not on the field necessarily with success, but behind the scenes, you began to see some of the things that were slipping through the crack be taken care of in a way that they hadn't been in a while. Jimbo had checked out, so the last 2 years of his existence here was a nightmare. He had good players, so he walked into some wins, but they weren't well coached, and he didn't want to be here. And so things were beginning to slip through the cracks. Willie took over, didn't work out. He was unable to get those things rectified behind the scenes. I'm not going to relitigate that. Point is, we saw it. It was a mess. We talked to the people on the inside. It was a mess. The administration did the same, and they pulled the parachute. They said, that's it. That's all. Let's go. We got to start over again. So they did. So right off the bat, you're saying, all right, Mike, let's see what you're about. What's your messaging? Do the players buy in? Are you consistent? It's all about consistency. Are you consistent day in, day out? Are you the standard every day? Because the players have to look to you for that until they take ownership. So can you get them to take ownership? Will they believe in you? Well, the only way they'll believe in you is if you're consistent. If that messaging remains the same after a big win and after a devastating loss. Turns out it was, and they all bought in. Good. That's the first step. Now we're jogging. All right. These next 5 games are going to determine whether or not you can run and run for time. Now we're starting to compete. Now it's let's go. Big boy time. We show we can walk. We show we can jog. You got to run. And then when you run, you got to run and beat your time and then beat that time and keep running. That's what we're going to find out over these next 5 games. Are they ready to do that? Is the next season going to be that?
Yeah, they're split so far. Let's call it a 10-mile race. First few miles looks great. Oh, we're out. We're jumping the gun. We're ready to go. And then there are just little stretches where for some reason our time is terrible. It's rotten. It's awful. And that's the thing. We talked about this and documented it last year and after the LSU game as well, which is, look, we've got a bigger conversation to have down the line when they're good enough to have it. And that's, do we tighten up on the sidelines in key moments? Because there are points last year with 4th down decision-making where you say, are we panicking? What's going on here? And then this year with the LSU game, how is this close? We're blowing them out. How do we find a way to be in a position where if they go for 2, we probably lose the game right then and right there with no time left on the clock? How do we get in that position? Well, they got the win. These are the important things. That was the retort. One day when they get a little bit better, then we're going to have to return to these bookmarks and say, is there a greater problem going on? We're close to that now. This 5-game stretch
will be very important.
If you play poorly in situations and lose these games,
we're going to have that
we're
conversation.
Here. We've arrived because we've shown that from the 20s to the 20s, we're good enough. Nobody runs on Clemson like we did. I think it was Kurt who put out a tweet yesterday that said it's the national title game in 2016, the last time any group has rushed for over 6 yards a carry on Alabama, on Clemson.
Listen, and when I said that last segment that I got that way wrong, and I applaud them for their game plan and their ability to have run the ball, I don't mind being wrong about that. There was no evidence that we were going to be able to do that because Clemson hadn't provided any evidence that people could.
Yeah.
So I don't care about being wrong about that. That's a bravo moment for us. That's a great game planning moment for us, in that coaching staff. I think they were stunned by what Florida State was able to do running the ball. And
they communicated that to their local media today. They said, we just got beat one-on-ones.
Yeah, they didn't think it was going to happen.
Yeah.
That typically is a safe assumption when most of your defensive line is projected to get drafted in the first 2 rounds. It's a fair assumption typically.
So, yeah, and because they're teaching us here, offensively speaking in this game, to a degree, what's possible, now you do have to change the grading curve a little bit. So on the one hand, you could be thrilled with in 7 through 7 games this season you've seen, despite myriad injuries, that they're a hell of a lot better. That's the good part. Now the tough part is, okay, legitimate that you're facing 3 top 15 teams in sequence here. That's not easy to do. You'd like to win one of them. You should have won at least
won the NC
at
State
least
game.
one of them.
Yeah.
This next 5-game stretch,
That's right.
those problems cannot persist because now we're going to have the discussion that people want to jump and have today. I say wait.
Oh, my point was, and that's why I came in here and said, listen, I'm not even going to spend a lot of time on this Clemson game. The next 5 games, we are at the place in the schedule and in the development of the program that the next 5 games are of vital importance. It's going to give you the answers you desperately seek. Is Mike Norvell the right coach for this program? Does he have the right staff? You might be able to answer that in multiple ways. Mike's the right guy. He's got to fire some people. Could be that Mike's not the right guy. Go 2-3 in these next 5 games. I guarantee you most of this fan base will not want him back. So these 5 games are going to tell you all that you need to know about what Florida State is. Sometimes it boils down to that. I hate to do that. I hate to ignore all the stuff that's in our rear view right now. Like all that stuff, the good and the bad and everything in between, right? I'm looking at these 5 games saying, all right, man, come on now. We are here. Let's go.
Right. And if, Miami was at number 7 in the country and undefeated and Florida was
Yeah, but
number
they're
5
not.
in the
Yeah,
country,
right.
then maybe we wouldn't be talking about it that way. But you see what they are, and you see what Georgia Tech has been. And Louisiana's not the last year version of that particular
I just
program.
watched LSU drop 45 points on Florida.
Right.
The LSU team we beat.
The things that are in the rear view are the table being set. And now it's time to eat. You've got to go ahead and do it. Because if I'm a 17 or 18-year-old looking at Florida State, my mind could be changed one way or the other.
Sure.
Right now. It's not just the fans or the boosters or the NIL collective. It's, hey, man, the future of the program. You win a couple of these rivalry games on the way to 8 wins. At least one of them on the way to 8 wins. Okay, you check the box for this season. And then we'll ratchet up the expectations again in the offseason.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I get that it's most of the time a little bit more nuanced than I'm currently making it. I get, but this is a zero-sum game. This is you win or you lose. This at some point you get to that place.
It would be more nuanced if you beat NC State. You'd get another strike on the back end, but you don't now. That's my problem with it. If you're 5-2,
nobody's upset at 5-2.
Right.
I'm not even upset at 4-3. I'm mad about the NC State game specifically, but I can live with 4-3 because I thought that those were 3 losable games. You were an underdog in 2 of them. I mean, it wasn't even like that Vegas and other objective measures thought you were going to win. That's different. I mean, that's where, when you cover the spread, it matters. Or when you hang out around the ballpark of where you're projected to, because they do use power rankings and things like that to come up with these numbers. So if you're playing well beyond it or well below it, it says something good and bad about your coaching. So that's why when you see these stats, even for non-gamblers, so-and-so hasn't covered a spread in their last 8 games. You can bet that fan base is looking at that coach, not because they're losing money betting, but because you're not living up to anybody's objective expectations of what you can be. I mean, that's not where we are. Florida State has arrived at that place where they are absolutely playing to the expectation.
Yeah, play for play, we're good. Situationally, we're bad. That's who this team has been. And that even in some of those wins earlier on in the season. Play for play, good. Situationally, not so good. That's got to change. I don't know. They spend a lot of time on special teams. Maybe they should spend a little bit more time on situations heading down the stretch here. But you've just got to handle red zone, and then it's 2-minute drill in this game. That's a 10 to 14-point swing. I know you could chuckle at me because that assumes we're going to make a field goal if it's a 10-point swing. But good gracious, that is atrocious. It is the worst thing that could happen, and you found a way to make it happen. And if it was isolated after a win against NC State that you won by 20 points, you wouldn't feel it the same way that you feel it on Saturday night because of what you did in all situations poorly against NC State in that second half. It's just, it's a trend, and it's an alarming one.
the good news is you go into this bye week now. You're going to get your best defensive player back on the field coming out of that bye week, we believe. The guys that have been playing beat up will have a chance to heal up. This back half of your schedule are winnable games. You've got better players in some situations in these matchups. I mean, certainly you got better players in Louisiana. Certainly you have better players than Georgia Tech. I mean, just to name a couple.
Argue Syracuse, too.
Certainly, yeah. You got better players in Syracuse. So those are games that, you ought to win. You ought to win. Now, Syracuse is buttoned up. They're playing well. We'll see what that game
and
is.
It's a tough spot after a rivalry game.
But I didn't say go 5-0. I said 4-1.
Mm-hmm.
You can lose one of those games that we're talking about where it's in question. The 2 road games, Miami or Syracuse. You could lose one of those. You should beat Florida here. There's no doubt you should beat Florida here. Looking at what Florida is right now. So, again, man, just not a lot of wiggle room. Sometimes it just comes down to it. Like, we've got 5 games to prove that this is a big step being taken forward, and I think it is. I think they're going to win these games. I'm here telling you now, I do think they're going to win. This isn't like, hey, heads up, everybody. We may have to call for this guy's head kind of conversation. That's not what I'm doing. I'm saying, nut cutting time, baby. Here we go. 5 games.
Right. Oh, man, I haven't heard nut cutting time in a while.
Oh, here we go.
Well, Papa Cameron has helped. He's had his hand on the bicycle seat.
Yeah.
With the training wheels
I'm
there.
letting go.
And now there are no training wheels and there's no hand. No handlebars, no seat.
Ride. You know how to ride.
You know how to do it.
You got your balance. Go. Go win football games. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
2 men are dead following a vehicle accident on I-10 in Gadsden County Friday night. At 11:38 p.m., a tractor-trailer driven by a 37-year-old man of Fort Morgan, Colorado, was traveling eastbound on I-10 in Gadsden County near mile marker 188. For an unknown reason, the vehicle exited the road and into the median where it struck multiple trees. After coming to a stop, the truck caught fire. The driver, along with a 28-year-old male passenger, were both pronounced dead at the scene. Florida State University celebrated the groundbreaking for its new College of Business, and FSU says this is one of the biggest events in the business school's 72-year history. The new Legacy Hall will include a financial trading room and a 300-seat auditorium. It'll be located just behind the Donald Tucker Civic Center. The new facility is set to be the largest academic space on campus and is expected to be finished during the summer of 2025. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Now open at their new location on John Knox Road. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Chance for scattered thunderstorms today. Otherwise, sunshine mixed with clouds at times. High temperatures reach up to 84. Northwest winds around 5 miles per hour. Chance for scattered storms tonight. Lows dip down to about 57. Mainly cloudy skies expected. Highs level off around 68 tomorrow. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 63.
Choose Hearth and Patio for custom fireplaces, maintenance, outdoor grills, kitchens, fire pits, lighting, and so much more. Check out all of Hearth and Patio's options online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com. Hearth and Patio, they keep the home fires burning.
Your next chance to win $1,000 is coming up at 3 p.m. Don't miss your chance to shake the 93.3 money tree and see what falls out. Planted by the law offices of Basic Brooks. Come back stronger with Basic Brooks.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah. Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true, but I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Hey, Greg Tish here along with
Matty Rowe.
And you can listen to us Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Real Talk 93.3. Matt, we give away a couple things each week.
Just a few.
We've got the Florida Farm Bureau Insurance Wheel of Food. We have Give Me a Second, where we play a second of a song and you guess that song. And we also play FLA or Nay. We have a lot of fun Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. on
The Greg Tish Show.
Think that's enough?
We could talk about our feelings.
There's a lot.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. only on Real Talk 93.3. The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
That's all it is. It's just a frank discussion of where our expectations are. Mine, anyhow. There are plenty of people who disagree with me, who are a little bit more, desperate and angry and frustrated than I am, and some that also think that we're well beyond where they thought we were going to be. Like their expectations are already met and then some. And then there's everybody else. So I think that they've played to their talent. They haven't done anything exceptional, and they haven't done anything dreadful. And I think that they should win 4 of the next 5 games, if not all 5. They have similar, better in some cases, slightly less than others, talent to the teams that they're playing that remain on the schedule. So all things being equal, it comes back to coaching and health.
Would you be willing to do a keg stand outside a corner pocket if they win all 5 games?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Well, Eric Angel, you get your wish. He put it in the chat. It was
I will gladly do a keg stand outside with the front door of corner pocket. Is
maybe
that,
on the deck. We can move the keg to the deck.
I'd like not to get injured, but sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
The deck sounds good.
I think Bill would enjoy that. All right, Eric, you've done it. Now I feel better about
win the
our
next
chances of winning 5.
Win the next 5, and I'll do a keg stand at corner pocket on video.
That'll be that Saturday, right? Maybe before we start Rivalry Saturday.
Absolutely. I will be happy to do it. I think there's a decent chance I'm doing a keg stand, guys. I do. I think there's a decent chance.
Maybe you should pop 4 Delta 8 gummies just before the keg stand and then see where the day goes.
I don't know about all that. I'd like to watch those games and remember them. Enjoy them. I don't
3
need
fireball shots after.
I don't need to be staring off into the trees. Look at the wind.
Why is Jeff facing out towards Appalachian Parkway?
I will gladly, go do that. So just to clarify, because people were asking, no, I'm not calling for anybody to be fired. I have said before that I would make certain changes on the coaching staff. There are a couple guys that I'm not in love with on this staff, but at the same time, I think they've done a good job of getting this thing flipped around, and we're moving in the right direction. It's when you lose games and you have a discussion after a loss, there's always going to be something to pinpoint regarding the mistakes that were made or the moments that were lost, the opportunities that weren't taken advantage of. That doesn't mean you're calling for anybody to be fired. It's pretty amazing how quickly we elevate things to fire or not status. Fans do that with sports in general. Baseball, basketball, football, doesn't matter. Everybody wants somebody fired all the time. Now, I have, in my career, certainly shown that I will tell you when I want somebody to be fired or think they should be. So I'm not holding back anything here, guys. If I thought that we were not moving in the right direction, I'd tell you. And maybe we arrive at that place. If they go 1-4 over the next 5, I think I'll say that we should fire him. Yes.
That would be hard to do.
I would hate it. I would hate it because of what it means.
Well, it wouldn't be hard to say, but it would be hard to go 1-4 the next 5 games.
I don't think they will. I don't think, of course not. And I think they are moving in the right direction. But, it's important. How you perform in these 5 games is very, very important.
I think the personnel choices here after the bye week are going to be interesting. You alluded to it in the open, but you have a bomb play where you miss the corner blitz, and we're never trained up well on those secondary blitzes, it feels like. Week 1 against LSU, Jamie did a good job on a couple of them.
That blitz was like the most anemic, child trying to tackle a father. I mean, it was so
There's
embarrassing.
just never any control.
No.
There's never any control. Right. Yeah, yeah.
Hair on fire.
It's almost
no
like
breaking down.
You're A-Rod in the Sky Dome yelling at the guy, with the pop-up as you're running by him. Wah! And then you're hoping you throw him off. But I saw a change at safety after that, and Shaheem played an awful lot of football. And then at corner. What are our personnel decisions like from moving from here on out?
It'll be interesting to see. I think there's a good chance that we see some of the younger players because we've got evidence that they probably need to get a little more playing time at this point. Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Physical stress on our bodies can take its toll as the years go by. Whether you're looking to get back into an old sport or just want to spend more time outdoors to explore all life has to offer in our beautiful city, the dedicated team at TOC is here for you every step of the way. You can trust TOC for all your orthopedic needs. And now, scheduling an appointment has never been easier. Just visit teamtoc.com and click schedule online. That's teamtoc.com.
Over 50 years ago, when Paul Nicholson founded Paul's Termite and Pest Control, he had one goal in mind: provide the best service possible to his neighbors so they felt like family. Your problem was his problem, so today it's our problem. Paul's service area is our home. It's where our kids go to school, where we shop, and where we get involved with community organizations. So if some out-of-town company knocks on your door and begins pressuring you to sign an agreement for termite or pest control, you can bet on a few things. Number 1, you'll never see that person again. Number 2, your technician is likely to change often. And number 3, your money will not stay in North Florida. These companies are sending your money to home offices in Atlanta, Orlando, Salt Lake City, or even Great Britain. Paul's Termite and Pest Control knows local means something to you. The health of your Tallahassee home, family, and pets is our number 1 priority. For the elimination of termites and pests and a greener lawn too, call your local company with local solutions. Paul's Termite and Pest Control.
Tallahassee's favorite family-owned Apple and Mac product store has moved to an all-new location. Mac & More Systems is now located at 230 John Knox Road. Same great people, same great services, same great prices, all at a new location. Mac & More offers computer and Apple device sales, one-on-one consulting, business services, and the most experienced Apple repair team in the city. Learn how to get the most out of your Apple gear. Come by and say hi to the Mac & More Systems team today at their new location, 230 John Knox Road.
Crawfordville Auto and Tire. Crawfordville Auto and Tire. Oh, hey there. I was just singing the praises of Crawfordville Auto and Tire. They do just about everything. Complete engine rebuilds, brakes, shocks, tires, oil change, you name it, they do it. And they offer a 12-month, 12,000-mile warranty on all parts and labor. Most of the time, they can service your car the same day and offer towing to help you get to the shop. Now that's something to sing about. Open weekdays from 7:30 in the morning until 6 at night. Crawfordville Auto Repair and Tires.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. NATO has begun its annual nuclear exercises in northwestern Europe as tensions simmer over the war in Ukraine.
The NATO exercises also come following Russian President Vladimir Putin's threat to use any means to defend Russian territory. 14 of NATO's 30-member countries are taking part in the exercises, along with around 60 aircraft, including fighter jets, surveillance, and refueling planes. The exercises were planned before Putin ordered Russian troops into Ukraine. Russia also usually holds annual maneuvers around the same time.
White House correspondent Greg Cluxton. Also at townhall.com, with 3 weeks until the midterm elections, a new poll is suggesting voters will be motivated to turn out.
The latest AP NORC Center for Public Affairs research poll finds 8 in 10 registered voters say casting their ballot this midterm is important. More voters say they trust the Republican Party to handle the economy, crime, and immigration, while the Democratic Party is seen as better at handling abortion policy, healthcare, and voting laws.
Correspondent Jennifer King says the findings show that 7 in 10 voters think the future of the country is at stake. The poll also reveals that voters are fed up with the current state of politics and are dissatisfied with the direction of the country. A man suspected of killing 6 men and wounding a woman in a series of shootings over a period of 3 months in Northern California has been arrested. Mayor Kevin Lincoln announced 43-year-old Wesley Brownlee is now in custody. Police had been searching for a man clad in black who was caught on video at several of the crime scenes in Stockton. Brownlee was taken into custody around 2 a.m. Saturday. Stocks remain sharply higher. The Dow is up 626 points. The NASDAQ 366 higher. More at townhall.com.
These are tough times for everyone, so dealing with your timeshare may not be your biggest concern. But when this passes, do you still want a lifetime of payments, fees, and commitments for a timeshare you were misled into buying?
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started the timeshare cancellation industry by exposing the ugly truth about timeshares and giving folks the straight facts. I've been fighting the timeshare giants ever since, so no one knows this industry better than me and my team. Today, we have saved our clients an average of $65,000 in lifetime payments. Imagine putting those timeshare dollars back in your pocket. Give my office a call today. I guarantee if we take you as a client, we will cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call Wesley Financial now for your free information kit. 800-549-8866. That's 800-549-8866. 800-549-8866. Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This is Dr. Shannon Lord at Finn Chiropractic. Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Whether you have neck pain, back pain, headaches, joint stiffness, if you're tired all the time and just don't feel right and don't feel like yourself, these are things that we can help with in our office. Take advantage of our online special offer. Make an appointment online so we can get you in right away. Come visit our website at finnchiro.com, FENNCHIRO.com, because your chiropractor loves you and there's nothing you can do about it.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout, resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Punt, which we glossed over a little bit, or some of the other elements, because I think what takes place moving forward is of vital importance. And that was the emphasis, as I recap a little bit here for that first hour, that I think, now's the time where you get to see just where Florida State's at and the importance of that. It's important to know that Florida State is continuing to improve and get better, and they can win some football games in games in which they're evenly matched. And in some cases, they have a distinct advantage, so you definitely have to win those. And then the others, it will come down to key situations, and they have not played key situations well so far this year. Ira did a good job of bringing that up in his 3-2-1 piece. We'll talk with Ira this hour. I think it is evident to all who watch that the teams that are better than Florida State don't seem to make these mistakes in crucial moments, and they find their path to victory a little easier because of it. Florida State's got to clean that up when the moments present themselves. I also need one specific thing here. I'm fine on 4th and 2 going for it there in the first half. In fact, I have zero problem with that. In fact, if he hadn't gone for it, I'd have a problem with that. But I need my quarterback to make better decisions. That is on Jordan Travis, period. That's the right play call. They have a first down if he throws to the flat, but he doesn't. He makes a low percentage throw into coverage, and that's on him. And so he's, listen, he's not perfect. Nobody is, but that's a bad time to make that decision. That's a bad time to take that risk. Take the sure thing, get the first down. Let's go. Move along. We're doing just fine here.
He also misses Johnny down the field earlier in that drive, which hurts. And he missed Johnny in the end zone a couple of times on the fades, which that catch radius is massive. Anything within that giant net of a catch radius, and 14's in position to make the play and score the touchdown. Now, in the end, they get good field position out of it and they score later. But those 2 minutes count for something.
Oh, big time.
I mean, at the end of the game, wouldn't you like to have another couple minutes on the scoreboard?
Yeah, man, that's very, very frustrating. That these last 3 games, partly because you've played better teams.
Yep.
Jordan's mistakes are illuminated a little bit more. And, he's having a good season, but he was having a great season. But it changes when you play better teams and those decisions get magnified. You got to hit open guys. Now, he was betrayed at NC State with all the drops, but you got to hit open guys. And then you got to make good decisions when you have options. And almost all of these play calls have options. The quarterback has, places he can go with the football beyond just a singular place. I'd like to think, and I don't know what's said between the two of them before that play, but I'd like to think my quarterback understands that what is of vital importance here is the 2 yards. I mean,
right.
Yeah, sure. Somebody, if blown coverage, streaking down the field wide open, hit him, fine.
Yeah,
but we need the 2 yards.
You see on the grease board, too, there are times in non-4th down situations where it's check down to touchdown or however they want to prioritize it, 4th and 2, and you're not throwing to a dude who's got an issue catching the ball and a dude who's got a trouble or has a hard time fighting through contact. Lawrence Toafili has been outstanding these last couple of weeks in short yardage situations, catching contested passes. He's been really, really good. It started with the Louisville game.
Oddly, there are times I just think he may be a better receiver than he is running back. And he's starting to come on as running back too.
And he looks good. Well, he already knows how to cut up on an outside zone. And that was the thing I saw in preseason camp where we weren't allowed to talk about it yet. And I said, he's starting to do some things that nobody else can do.
If he gets stronger, man.
And if we decide to run outside zone more, which I think they will, he understands in a way that Chris Thompson did how to wait and then go. Is he as fast 0 to 60 as Thompson? No, but he's a plus player and he's tough. It started in the Louisville game. There was a 3rd down conversion in the second quarter where he has to adjust on a bad pass behind him and then also take a hit immediately. And Toafili did both of those things. So you take that, you move forward with 10 examples of that dude being tough as nails and fighting and understanding where he needs to be, how to get a yard if you need only the yard on a 3rd down or a 4th down.
Which is important because he screwed that up earlier in the year.
Correct. And last year he did as well. That's why he was in the doghouse last year. So that shows development and improvement. That's the guy who's open on 4th and 2.
Well,
for crying out loud, that's the guy who's open.
It's a good play concept, and it's the right play, and he makes the wrong throw. So, I need him to be better. I mean, there's always enough blame to go around after any loss. There's a lot of stuff we can talk about. Clemson's a better football team than Florida State, and that's why I was less frustrated with this loss than, say, NC State. The NC State game was really quite frustrating for obvious reasons.
And that's not to say that Jordan did make plays. He made plenty of plays. That first touchdown is unbelievable. Well, I feel like internally I've gone through 5 or 6 mistakes that he made, and he did make those. But
yeah, he did.
He also gets you out of some bad stuff and turns it into positive plays. And then that touchdown their first touchdown is perfectly defended by Clemson. They've got an account for everything.
Yeah, except for your boy gets shook out his shoes. Yep. It's embarrassing.
And that's what that dude does. So
I laughed pretty hard. And when I went back, when I got home and watched again, specifically before I went to bed, I went to that play because I could see it in real time that guy got juked, but I wanted to see the other angle. And that's kind of fun to giggle at. You're like, ooh, he's frozen. Matthew texted me about it. In fact, it's like, sir,
no, it's evil. If you had in a different life, that dude as a punt returner would be a nightmare.
Yeah.
Jordan Travis would be just because of that short area movement. But the one thing I'd say, we haven't talked about this, and I didn't see it too much in the wrap up for any of our colleagues, the illegal shifts and motion issues in general. That is something that can be remarked on and criticized. You've got 2 illegal shift penalties. Both are killers. The second of which is a Ja'Kai Douglas catch up the right side.
Yeah.
And it's basic stuff. I mean,
you have to stop.
Yes.
You can't move towards the line of scrimmage.
And the play before the fumble.
Yeah.
The play before the fumble on 2nd and 12. What puts you in 2nd and 12?
Right.
It's a poor execution of the motion. You've got the tight end moving from one side of the formation to the other so you can indicate and understand what's going on. He and Robert Scott get crossed up on their blocking assignments because they're not ready when the ball is snapped. And I promise you, if you look at that first down play and see the point of the pitch and what they have,
right,
not to be Jimbo, but it's going to
out the gate, baby.
At least going to put you in the red zone. You're going to be inside the 20-yard line. I think Jordan still could have pitched it. Personally, I think he could have. But I understand why he froze, because you've got guys who are making basic errors before the snap of the football. You can't have that.
No, not in a big game against really good teams that can do something about it. And when you have to execute all of the details in order to have success. And they did it. I mean, this is very balanced, Tom. I mean, it's okay to criticize that because we also lauded them and gave them the credit they deserved for the game plan. Nobody thought they could run outside zone against Clemson coming into this game. Very few people did. Obviously, they did. They believed it. They saw something. Their video review said, we absolutely can and we will. And they did successfully in a way that nobody else has done. And they get huge amounts of credit for that. But you're right. You get criticism for not executing some of the basic things that allow you to have success in critical moments. Again, it gets back to critical moments.
I'm not going to harp on it for any longer. But that first down play before the fumble, go ahead, folks, if you can stomach it, take a look. And you'll want to vomit like I want to vomit when I think about it. We'll move forward, though. That game plan was outstanding.
It was awesome. And it gives me hope moving forward that and I feel like we've said this a lot. And I don't know why anymore that I'm surprised. I'm going to rectify that. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to when we do the pregame show, I'm not going to say we can't do this. Whatever it is, I'm not going to say that because there have been game plans that were, pass heavy against teams that have had defenses that successfully guard against big plays time and again, and then we hit them for 3 or 4 big plays. So I'm like, okay, well, that's all right. They saw something, they schemed it up. And then there have been games where I thought, well, we really can't block this group. I mean, we just don't physically have the horses to do it. And then we're out here running up and down the field as if those guys aren't all ACC, all American type players that are going to get drafted in the first 2 rounds. Because they are. Those guys are. They're really good. But, man, they game plan well around here. I will say that.
Is Adam Fuller having a good year? It's a simple question, but I feel like it's interesting.
Well, it's not the disaster that a lot of our fans think it is. It's not great either. So I think it's a middling type year.
Yeah.
Now listen, there are reasons in some cases, not excuses. Not having Fabian Lovett hurts. I mean, he is a massive difference maker for you. But we've overcome that in a lot of these games.
And they're going on record saying that Amarian Cooper is injured. So we've got to go with that. They're not having your best corner.
Well, I'm not going to call him that anymore. So? When he was healthy, he didn't play well, and now he's not healthy, and he's got to earn that again. At the end of last year, he was moving in that direction, and we believed it. Nothing since that time has shown that to be the case. So get healthy, young man, if that's the problem. I don't want to, belabor the point if he's hurt, trying to play through it, and it's caused him to be terrible at his job.
I actually don't blame the defense for the 2 scores in the second half of 10 points because it's a kickoff return and then a trick play. I mean,
you don't have to get a
reverse
touchdown on the trick play.
I understand. He's in decent. It's a trail on a tight end who's released late on a trick play that they haven't seen before. That's tough, and it's a 30-yard gain. It's not like it was a 30-yard gain to the 50 that kickoff return really kills you in that
He
situation.
gets caught up in the wash, so he comes down.
Right.
And then, yeah.
We do that to other teams too, where you scheme it up and you go, geez, that's wide the hell open. Or a trick is a gimmick. And then you get the short field right after, and I get that they trot in, but the hold counts. That's a real thing, or else DJ's probably stopped at the 2 or 3 yard line, and you force a field goal there. So that's the only blemishes that you have in that half. Of course, I'd like them to get off the field a little bit earlier later in the half, but I mean, honestly, I think in general, they improved greatly in the second half. You look at the drive chart and you see 6 straight scores. I don't think it's that simple to break it down and say they scored 6 straight times.
But this
Screw
is
Adam Fuller.
Yeah, but he also doesn't get the benefit of the doubt because every week they give up a touchdown to start the second half. However they arrive at it, they do. They just do. Always.
It was the only one they gave up against NC State, period.
It was a big deal. It got him back in the game. And I didn't bitch about the defense after the NC State game. I bitched about the offense. And I bitched about the offense after the Wake game.
Correct.
So I was complaining about the offense in those 2 games. I wasn't complaining about the defense.
I feel like there are some Wake Forest complaints that are rising to the surface from the fan base after the Clemson game, which I find strange. It's almost like we're rewriting what Fuller did or did not do in the Wake Forest game because of the failures down the stretch here.
Yeah.
The inexcusable is the what do they call it? Sudden change after the fumble at midfield. You know, you're allowed to make a stop there. You don't have to give up a run up the gut immediately. What the hell?
Right.
I agree there. That was bad.
Well, I don't think. Listen, I've been disappointed with the back end. I've talked a lot about that. I don't feel like our secondary communicates as well as they should. Ultimately, a defensive coordinator is going to be the one to take the blame because it falls under the totality of the purview that he's responsible for. Right? Is the defense? There may be some other guys that need to be replaced.
Right.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
The secondary has regressed this season.
Yes, they have.
Across the board. Except for Renardo Green. Sorry.
Who is
Forgive me, Renardo.
Who's the surprise of the season?
And he made a great play on one-on-one.
Yeah.
That's a moment of growth.
He's the surprise of the season. He was the surprise coming out of camp. He's been the surprise of the season across the board. We did not think that Renardo Green was going to be your most reliable corner and that you weren't really going to even worry about him. Now, is he dominant? No. Is he elite? No. But is he your best corner currently? Yeah, he is.
And if he was who Renardo Green is with Omarion Cooper, who we thought we were going to see, you'd feel very good about your corner play.
You'd be pleased.
Yeah.
No, I don't think they communicate well on the back end. It's been a problem every year. And you know they cleaned some things up last year in the second half of the season, and we lauded them for it. But those first 4 games counted too. And so you come on now. Let's see that improve. Again, you can argue that maybe it does improve with better players when you get better players. Maybe when McCall is starting to go along with Shaheem Brown, to go along with Azariah Thomas, we're having less communications problems.
You could start that process sooner, perhaps. Yeah.
Maybe, right? I mean,
20 was out there a lot.
Yeah. It is frustrating though because it is fairly consistent. That part of it is consistent. The miscommunications, the confusion that you see at least once every game, usually a lot more than once, and that is aggravating. That keeps me from saying he's having a good year, but I don't think he's having a bad year. I think they would be even better. Obviously, if Fabian Lovett was out there, I mean, you haven't had him since the end of game 1.
The concern I have is that first touchdown. I did a deep dive on DJ's numbers, which is don't blitz him, but pressure him, which is a hard thing to do because that means you got to rely on a front four. That does not include Fabian Lovett. So I understand if you need to try and dial some stuff up. It's a first down. It's not necessarily a do or die moment. There are some calls during the course of games where I go, I don't know what he's doing there. But in general, I feel like he's game planned well. It's much like the general talking points about this game for the offensive staff.
Yeah, I think he knows what he's seeing. It's not confusion. He's not incompetent or anything like that.
He's coordinating the group better. Remember, that was the basic question.
Last year, I brought it up through the first 4 or 5 weeks. They weren't coordinated. It looked like the right hand didn't know what the left hand was doing. The front didn't match the back end, and they didn't play together. They were not coordinated in the first half of last season. And this year, there's been no such complaints. Now, that's not an elite defense by any stretch. They've got to get better. In particular, they got to get better on the back end. But I also think they've got to, hopefully, and they're recruiting to this end, hopefully they're better at linebacker. Tatum Bethune has been an upgrade for us. He's not great in coverage, but he's an upgrade. And then, obviously, we've been pretty pleased with Kalen DeLoge. After that, you really don't have anybody.
They rotate a lot, too, at linebacker,
Yeah.
even with those deficiencies. You see a lot of 46, and Brendan Gant was out there again.
Yeah.
He makes some big-time mistakes, but then also he shows a sign. And there was a big-time tackle in a one-on-one against DJ. I don't know that he gets credit for the tackle, but he gets credit for the stop, and then you have help on the way. So there are moments where you see Gant looking good, but
I do predict, though, that the second half of this season, these 5 games that I'm going to continue to harp on and talk about revealing the answers that you're desperate to know. There's a whole lot of being in limbo right now. There's some real good things that we're all excited about that we've shined a light on, and there's some negative things that you're frustrated by that have led to losses that we've also talked about. You have to. You got to take the good with the bad and talk about it all. But there are some things you're just not sure of yet that you can't say definitively, and it's important for the program to have a lot of success in these next 5 games coming off the bye. It's very important. I think it's important for Mike. I think it's important for the fans. Fans are obviously not on the sidelines on Saturdays coaching football, so I'm less concerned with the fans. But the whole operation is affected by these next 5 games, and the fans are part of that, okay? Program health. Fans are included in program health. Viability. Is it an attractive place to go play? Fans are included in those conversations. So these 5 games, I think, are going to provide the fans with the answers they need. Yeah, I'm all in, feeling good. 8-4, 9-3, good season. Stinks with that little 3-game losing streak hiccup in there, but I saw a lot of improvement. Definitely can tell we're going in the right direction. All in, let's go. Let's sell it out next year and be ready to ride. Let's continue to build on these successes. Or sadly, if it goes south and he's below average in these 5 games, that is to say they go 2-3 somehow in these next 5 games, I don't think you'll have the fan support. I don't. I think that they'll look at this and say, he's done some things well, but this isn't the guy. That's what they'll say.
he's made it better, but somebody's got to come in and finish the job.
That's what people will say. And you listen, each one of you will debate for yourselves and with each other whether or not that's fair, unfair, more than fair, exceptionally unfair. You guys will have that debate. That's fine. That's what we do. I mean, we talk about it. We have an opinion about it. We all have this common love, passion, interest in Florida State football. And we debate its relative health and where it's going all the time, even when it's really good. And that's fine. It's healthy to do that. You should do that. But it will be greatly affected by how we play in these next 5 games, that conversation. Irash Shafel will join us very shortly. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Football at El Jalisco, football at El Jalisco, what a combination. It's a great big celebration. It's football at El Jalisco. They can dig it. Who's playing? Oh, man, everybody. The ACC, the SEC, all the C's, and even the pros. The Bucks, the Steelers, the Giants, the Cowboys. Wow, far out. You bet, man. When the game is on, it's on at El Jalisco with incredible specials on everything from frosty cervezas to salty margaritas. Does Margarita know? Dios mío, not again. The best place to watch the game is El Jalisco. College, pros, Monday night, Thursday night, you name it, El Jalisco is football headquarters. And with 5 Tallahassee area locations, there's probably an El Jalisco right around the corner right now.
Imagine for a moment that you are completely weightless with zero gravity. All of your worries and stress melt away. Your mind stops racing and you fall into a profound state of pure relaxation. This is available to you right now at Tallulah Delta 8 Plus Floating in Railroad Square for just $50. These state-of-the-art floating pods are unlike anything else you've ever experienced, and while you're there, you can shop for some of the latest and greatest CBD and Delta 8 products on the market. Natural pain management, stress relief, and better sleep are all at your fingertips at Tallulah. Tell them Jeff Cameron sent you, and thank me later.
This is Kyle, service manager from Barano Heating and Air. Schedule an appointment from your mobile device to learn about our Total Comfort Service program. With guaranteed same-day service, 15% off necessary repairs, and $25 berry bucks to use towards air filters and other products. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Any day, anytime, anywhere. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license CAC 1816-186.
Hey, this is Greg Tish. Here's something you might know about me. I don't drink coffee. I have never had a cup of coffee in my life. Well, that is until now. So why change now? Well, it's because my dear friend at Grassroots Coffee reached out to me after hearing me say that and insisted that I give his product a try. I've been making a huge mistake. The world of coffee is fascinating. I always thought coffee is coffee, you know? No, it's not. I have tried their coffee and it is fantastic. Now, I've got a fascination with learning more about the best coffee in our area. Grassroots Coffee is locally roasted, locally owned, and locally loved. You can find whole bean Grassroots Coffee on the local aisle at Publix, also in Whole Foods, but the best way to get this black gold is to order it online. They literally grind the fresh roasted beans to your preferred level, bag it, write the date on it by hand so you know the exact day your coffee was roasted. It doesn't get any more fresh than that. Order yours now. Just go to grassrootscoffee.com and choose the coffee you want and how you want it. And join me. Let's step up our coffee game together and also support a great local business.
If you're a business owner of any kind, you need advanced fire protection services. We are AFPS, and we provide high-quality life safety services throughout Northwest Florida, and we've been doing it since 1989, with offices now in Tallahassee. Fire sprinklers, fire alarms, fire extinguishers, hood suppression systems, and emergency exit lights. For all of your life safety equipment, we've got you covered 24/7. We are Advanced Fire Protection Services. For a free life safety system evaluation, visit WeSaveLives.com. That's WeSaveLives.com.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Some kind souls in the chat. A lot of times when I'm locked in on the points that I'm making, I don't always get the opportunity to check in here, and now I see that that I have failed. Sorry, Marcus. Jeff, agree with your take on our fans' take on Norvell. Unfortunately, I found our fans not as kind as I once imagined. We were spoiled. P.S. Go Birds. Well, listen, Marcus, I think it's important to point out here that is every fan base. That is every fan base. Large swaths of people, collectives of any kind, generally speaking, suck. Whereas individuals are fine.
Amen.
So if you were to sit down and talk with anybody, no matter what their beliefs, politically, religious, you name it, most individuals can sit across from each other and have a conversation and reason with their differences and figure it out and whatever, move forward friendly. Large groups of people, oh, no. They tend to chant and have hand signals and do all kinds of things that are very generally dangerous.
Hand signals.
Yeah, weird stuff. So when you describe fans, that's the deal. And also with the advent of social media, you don't see the best in people in social media, right? Most people that are on social media, especially ones that are very loud on social media, angrily pointing to a team or a player, that is a very vocal minority. So that's what that is. Don't let that paint the picture of all fans. Like if you see it on Twitter or a message board or Facebook, that's not really a great representative of people. That's the representative of a vocal minority that are insane.
It's just a bunch of people that are in the customer service line who are looking for a fight all together at once.
And they have a collective voice where they can, we've all heard this, right? We've all had the conversation about, used to be the village idiot was told to shut up and was exposed for being an idiot. And that was great. That was great. You're like, oh, Ted over here is a dumbass.
This laptop doesn't work.
Right. But
Sir,
then,
you dropped it.
But then obviously, they were given a voice and they found the other dumbasses. And they rose up and
he's right. Even if he drops the customer's always right. Sir.
So there's that. Thank you, Sean. Appreciate your you didn't have a question. Woo! And thank you, South Florida Nole 1. Woo! Bill writes, coming from Pensacola if we win 6. Well, we will.
All right. Then he's making a trip.
We're easily winning 6.
You better save the or fill up the gas.
Come on,
You're
buddy.
good.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's get to let's get to my man. Irashafel, Warchant.com. Hello, Ira. What's up, brother?
How you doing, Jeff?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good, man. Just trying to figure out what we're going to see in these last 5 weeks. I am genuinely I really don't have a super strong opinion. I mean, I think they're going to play well, but there's going to be a couple of tough games in there. So I'm really curious to see what we're going to see.
It's of vital importance, Ira. I've centered my show around it today. I don't know if you got to hear any or not. I know you're a busy man, but I really didn't focus a lot on the Clemson game. I wasn't angry after that game, disappointed in some things, but not angry. I was angry after NC State. I'm not angry after this game, but I am looking forward to the importance of these 5 games and how we play coming out of the bye. And I think they're going to play well, Ira. I think they'll play well. But I certainly allow for the idea or the fact that they might not. And I think it would be a really bad look and a problematic situation for Mike Norvell amongst the fan base if they were to go, say, 2-3 or certainly 1-4. That would undo a lot of the very good that Mike has done here, in my opinion. Do you share that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously, 1-4 would be a disaster. 2-3 wouldn't be far from it. 3-2 still doesn't get you where you need to be, really, because it would say that you lost 5 of your last 8 games, and part of it is, Tom and I talked about briefly on this Sunday Smash last night that if the LSU game and the Clemson game had been switched, it wouldn't feel quite as bad right now because you would have had that early season loss, but you would have moved on, and then you got at least one win in this stretch. But when you lose these 3 in a row, it now leaves you no margin for error in these last 5 games. I mean, I think that's going to be the challenge. Is they, it's not like these are all just gimmies, and so, but I do think they should win 4 of them. But we all know teams lose games they shouldn't. So that would be, it would just be again tougher fans to stomach if they had lost 3 games, these 3 games, the way, especially the NC State game, and then don't finish strong.
Here, well, I'm going to give you a chance to mute you. Get that phlegm out of there, buddy. I know you're getting choked up at the thought of going 2-3. Okay, you can unmute him. He's good. You good?
That got me. The idea.
Well, I agree with you, by the way. I mean, for example, let's just say it right out the gate here. They ought to blow Georgia Tech out. This should not be much of a football game. You're coming off a bye. Georgia Tech's not good, period. You play the game at home, you ought to win the game. Now, from there is where it really gets interesting. You ought to obviously win the Louisiana game. So the other 3 games are the ones that we're looking intently at, which is on the road at Miami, which right now is not very good. And I don't see a reason that you ought not go down there and win. It won't be easy. It's a rivalry game. They'll play hard. There'll actually be fans in the stands. All of that's true. But you could win that game, certainly. The road Syracuse game, I kind of can't get a feel for. I don't even know what Syracuse is. They keep winning, but good God, I refuse to believe when I watch them that that's a real good team. They are winning, but they're not a great team. They're certainly capable of beating Florida State, to your point. And then finally, obviously, you host Florida, which is a mess defensively right now, especially. Oof. You ought to win this game against Florida at the end of the year, period. You just should. They're a bit of a mess right now. So, Ira, I think it's reasonable And I've just got done ripping fan collectives as a whole, but I do think it's reasonable to suspect that you're going to win, 3 or 4 of these games. I think you should win 4 of them, period.
Yeah, and the reality is you could win all 5 of them, but you got to play well consistently and kind of get back to where you were earlier this season. I don't think it's all a matter of the quality of opponent. I didn't think NC State was very good, and I think you could have played a whole lot better against Wake Forest. And so, but if you can get back to playing the way you were, really the first 4 weeks of the season, and I thought in stretches of the Clemson game, you saw that again. I thought the offense looked much more determined. The offensive linemen were coming off strong. I mean, they were bringing the fight to Clemson. I was impressed by the way I like the way the backs ran. The receivers made some plays. Jordan made some plays. And it's a weird discussion about like who's more to blame after a game. Corey was really hard on the defense after the game, and some fans on our message boards got upset about that. But I was not real thrilled with the defense. I just don't think, I don't think they made it very difficult for Clemson when Clemson had some of those scoring opportunities. So that's frustrating. But ultimately, it is how this team plays themselves. How they play is going to determine what they do in those games, because you're not going to be at a talent disadvantage, I don't think, in any of those 5 games to where, if you play well, you shouldn't win the games.
If they execute and play to the best of their ability, they'll win all 5 of those games.
Right.
I believe that. Now, is it reasonable to expect anybody to play to the best of their abilities in 5 straight games? I don't know. I mean, that's probably a debate fans have all the time. I do think it's okay to hold players and coaches to a standard, and meaning the standard that they've defined for themselves by evidence they've presented you throughout the course of the year of what they're capable of.
Right, and it's a big deal, and I think Corey's going to write something else about this for the site about the running game and what they did against Clemson.
It was amazing.
It's kind of a historic performance, to do that against that Clemson defense. That's a big deal, and so okay, well that shows what you can do. And so I think, and then again defensively, if you get Fabian Levitt back, Jared Verse gets closer to full speed. I mean, all those things are really positive. You could maybe have the team in that last 5 games that you thought you were going to have at the beginning of the season. And the reality is, if you finish strong, I mean, like, we can worry about what happens if you don't. But if you do, if you finish 8-4, 9-3, go to a bowl game, maybe win a bowl game, now all of a sudden, man, the complete trajectory of this program is different than what people are thinking right now. And nobody even really thinks about these 3 games in the middle of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll always come back to this damn NC State game, but yes, I understand what you're saying. I agree. And by the way, and I've had to repeatedly say this on today's show, because I understand that the tenor of my voice, or maybe the way I'm going about just speaking frankly about it, makes it sound like it's negative. I'm just noting that these 5 games are of great importance to the perception of the program, to Mike Norvell as a head coach, and for the overall, I think, demeanor of the fan base as to the way they perceive Mike in this program as well, or health of the fan base. But I also think they're 5 games they are going to play well in. I do think that they'll go a minimum of 4-1 in these games. I think there is a good chance they'll go 5-0 in these games. I really believe that. And I do see enough evidence to suggest that they'll come out and play well in these games. Mike knows it's important. He can't be out here half-stepping. I mean, if you finish this year 6-6, no, man, that ain't it. That's going to be a problem, a real problem. And I don't think that he'll have the overwhelming support that he'll need to come out of this thing and become a long-term answer at coach if they are 6-6 or 5-7, or, I mean, I don't know, 7-5 is open for debate. How does it happen? I do think that there will be unquestionably a disappointment if they're 7-5 after starting 4-0.
Yeah, 100%. And then also, again, it's who you beat, and if you beat Florida and Miami,
right,
and finish 7-5, maybe that's not the end of the world. But if you go 7-5 and those are the 2 games, and you don't win those 2 games, then it's a total different discussion. And again, this is a team that has shown they're capable. I think that, again, that's what that game to me. Both of these last 2 games, you played Clemson and NC State, 2 teams with 2 of the better defenses in the conference. Some people think 2 of the best defenses in the country, and you outgained both of them by an average of 85 yards. So that you can play with these teams. Now you just have to make the plays, the big plays, the meaningful plays and not have the big mistakes. And then you're where you need to be. I just don't think you can. Some people say, "Oh, well, they need better players. You need more talent." I don't know, man. If you're out gaining two of the teams that are supposed to be two of the better defensive teams in your conference, I don't know if you could just point to talent anymore. You got to win games.
Yeah, at some point it does become a very simplistic discussion. That's what I was saying at the outset, that like, hey, you've proven enough now to know I don't have to worry about whether or not you're going to try. I don't have to worry anymore about the overall health of the locker room. I don't have to worry whether or not, you're going to get blown out by anybody. These were all real things that we were worried about the last 2 years. In certain matchups, there were games where we thought, man, they could lose by 50 today. Seriously, we've had those conversations. But we're not having those conversations anymore. And that is a boy moment. Collectively, as a fan base, we can say, that boy, Mike, good job. We're not worried about whether or not the locker room's healthy. The kids are going to try, they're prepared, and they can compete. We're not worried about that anymore. So what do we worry about? Winning damn games. That's what we're worried about. That's exactly what we're worried about. So it's just fair. That's the way of the world. Again, people get all up in arms if you ever even suggest that a guy may or may not be here or be the long-term answer. They shouldn't worry about it. He's making $5 million. It'll be okay. They should worry about whether or not you're winning games. Now, I'm also saying don't be unreasonable. Note the successes, note the progress, but hold them to a standard there, a standard that they've set for themselves. You're right to say that, Ira. They're a pretty good football team. They're not great, but they're pretty good.
Yeah, and if you look at the things to expect now, because you said you think they're going to come out and play well against Georgia Tech.
I do.
And the reason you do is because you're not worried about how this team's going to handle 3 straight losses. You don't believe they're going to go in the tank, and kids are going to start
worrying about themselves, right?
You're not expecting that because we haven't seen that from this team. This team doesn't seem like that kind of team anymore. Okay, so you got that cleared. Can you play? Yes. They've shown you can play at this level. You guys can play with these teams. Then now the only thing left is to get it done on Saturdays, and that's up to the coaching staff. And we can talk about all the progress they made. They made a ton of progress. They have completely changed what this team looks like, and we just outlined why: the attitude, the effort, to some degree, the talent level. But at the end of the day, you can't you don't get like it. It's not like in class where you get like a 75 or an 80 and okay, you pass. It's not at this level of college football, if you're making that kind of money, you're not going to get by with C's. It's not my high school report covers a lot of C's and B's, but I don't think that's going to work for Mike Norvell.
Last question, Ira. I have pledged to do a keg stand at Corner Pocket if the Noles win each of their final 5 games. Will you join me?
Here's the problem with me doing a keg stand, Jeff, is I need a lot of spotters. This isn't 22-year-old Ira. So I'm not sure that's in anybody's best interest. I'll funnel.
Okay.
Does the funneling work?
All right, let's do that then. You'll funnel a beer if we win the 5 games that we're talking about out in front of Corner Pocket while I do a keg stand. So we've got 2 of us out there together in front of Corner Pocket. I'm doing a keg stand. And you're doing a funnel.
Not just funneling a beer. Funneling a beer would take like 2 seconds. I'll full funnel.
Fill that funnel up. Let's go. Okay. Mike Norvell, are you listening to this? I want you to win because you want to win and you're paid handsomely to do so. But you've got an added incentive now. I'm out here doing keg stands while Ira's funneling a bunch of beers. Get off your ass and get some wins, Mike. Appreciate you, Ira. I'll talk to you later, buddy. Later. Come on now, Mike. No more pussyfooting. Let's get 2. 5 wins in a row, and the party is here.
Now I've got FOMO.
You can get involved.
What? Well, now it seems like you've got an Olympics of things going on here.
What other types of beer trickery is there?
Well, I thought I was going to do a keg stand later, but now it seems like you have a simultaneous consumption thing going on here.
Oh, if you were already
I got a shotgun, a 24-ouncer.
No, you can do that easily.
That's also going to be probably some foam coming back up the other way.
Yeah, we don't need all that.
Yeah.
Well, you can do a keg stand then.
All right,
just stick with that.
So then it could be symmetrical. There'll be kegs on either side of Ira too, and the beer funnel in the middle.
What kind of operation is on 3 running down in Tallahassee? Shannon's going to be up in Nashville going, "What are these? This is not what I paid for."
Are they going live for this?
They StreamYard a bunch of chugging. You just worry about subscription, Shannon. We've got it covered. We know what butters the bread.
And there's Corey with a pint glass of vodka.
Well, Mio and water and a little smidge of vodka. No. It's Jeff Cameron, Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
The Tallahassee Police Department is investigating a traffic incident that occurred early Sunday morning. A traffic crash involving a vehicle and a pedestrian occurred just before 1 a.m. near the intersection of Stadium Drive and Lake Bradford Road. The crash happened a few hours after the Florida State University versus Clemson Tigers football game. An adult male pedestrian sustained significant injuries. Deputies say a man was stabbed to death outside of Walgreens at the corner of Capitol Circle Southwest and West Tennessee Street. Witnesses told investigators the suspect, 67-year-old Orlando Estrada Cabrera, got into an argument with another man after Cabrera felt the man had made a disrespectful statement about him. That's when Cabrera pulled out a knife and stabbed the victim 2 or 3 times in an unprovoked attack. Cabrera was found nearby, covered in blood, and admitted to the stabbing. Witnesses told investigators the suspect and victim did not know one another. Both are believed to be homeless. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Now open at their new location on John Knox Road. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Chance for scattered thunderstorms today. Otherwise, sunshine mixed with clouds at times. High temperatures reach up to 84. Northwest winds around 5 miles per hour. Chance for scattered storms tonight. Lows dip down to about 57. Mainly cloudy skies expected. Highs level off around 68 tomorrow. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 63.
Curling shingles? That's the sign of a failing roof. We can help. Give us a call today.
T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. Call 850-766-1340.
License number CCC 1331204.
Your next chance to win $1,000 is coming up at 3 p.m. Don't miss your chance to shake the 93.3 money tree and see what falls out. Planted by the law offices of Basic Brooks. Come back stronger with Basic Brooks.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah. Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true. But I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Hey, Matt.
Yes, Greg.
You know all the different ways that you can listen to Real Talk 93.3?
There are several.
So we've got realtalk93.com. You can go back and listen to all of our shows in the podcast section.
That's right. You can also listen on our app as well.
Search Real Talk 93.3 and look for the red microphone and download our app. Never go anywhere without us.
And of course, you can always listen right on the radio.
Well, they are listening.
Are they?
If they're hearing this commercial, then they're listening.
That's true. I hadn't thought about that.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3. Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Listen in closely. It's an opportunity here. My friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans is a hometown hero loan program designed to make a difference to those who make a difference in their community. It will save you a lot of money. If you use them, they will waive all lender fees for all hometown heroes, $1,600 in savings right off the top there. Also, if you use their preferred title company, you'll save more money, over $2,000 at that point. So it's important, and they want to give back to those who give back. So if you're active military, a veteran, police officer, firefighter, nurse, or a school teacher, and you're looking to buy a home, choose Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. And I should tell you, by the way, in addition to FSUHomeLoans.com, where you can go and look them up and all that stuff, or call 844-FSU-LOAN. Every time you get a loan, 250 bones going back to Rising Spear. $250 every time they write up a loan for you and get that approved and all that. Then you $250. There it is.
I'm just so impressed with Rising Spear and how they've chosen Florida State for no good reason because they're not
Randomly,
affiliated.
they're not affiliated with the
university.
any shape or form.
No way, or fashion.
Mm.
They're not related.
Not at all.
It's unbelievable that they just continue to choose to support
good people at Rising Spear.
Florida
That's what
State.
it is. Yeah,
it's amazing. What a coincidence, but good for them.
Hey, I want to address this again. I think I need to say it. To clarify, just so that people know when we're having discussions like this, and I say things like, "Hey, man, fool around and go 3-2 over these next 5, and it's not a good look, and it's a poor season, etc." People are like, "Oh, well, then who are we getting, Jeff? Who are you bringing in?" I'm not suggesting to fire him. I'm saying he won't have a lot of support. They're not going to fire him. Now, he goes 5-7. They could fire him, yes, and he would deserve to be fired at that point. But he's not going to go 5-7, and I don't think they're going to play poorly. And I am impressed with the job he's done overall. These are separate things, man. And when we talk about the long-term viability of a coach, it's just that. We're talking about the long-term viability. We're not saying, hey, come hell or high water, you go 3-2 in these next 5 games, you're fired. No, we're not saying that. That's not going to happen, and nor would I think it'd be a good idea. I also would feel like we were running in place, and I'd be disappointed because I think that there would be an inevitability to his career demise here.
Here's the scary thing about this 5-game situation. It's an analogy. These 5 games are kind of like the situational football moments of the schedule, if you take to my meaning. These other games that we played so far, the first 7, it's kind of like the 20 to the 20-yard line. Between the 20s, we're doing some things. But you get down in the red zone, 2-minute drills, 3rd down situations, 4th down situations, things like that. Get off the field, stay on the field. That's what's holding us back from having a better record. That's what this 5-game stretch feels like. Now you're into the situations.
Now we're in the situation.
Can you handle the situations?
Got to handle these
please?
Situations, baby.
Because if it's like what we see in a 60-minute football game, we're going to be very disappointed that we did not handle the situation part of the schedule. Do what you're supposed to do. You're in a position now to pay it off.
I have every belief they're going to play well in these 5 games. I really do. So it's going to be a moot point. We're not going to be talking about having to fire the guy or anything like that. And really, I think short of a complete disaster, they're not going to.
Tech is an interesting one because the noon kick does ratchet up the first
They're not
quarter.
listening to Georgia Tech, Tom.
Look, man, the first quarter is going to be watched a little more closely with a nooner. If it was a night kick, I personally would be a little bit more on autopilot. But the noon kick, I'm
about it at all.
All right, well, that's good.
I'm just letting you know. Don't worry about that game. Worry about the Syracuse game. Worry about the Syracuse game.
Whoa. Wait a minute.
No,
that just hit me.
I'm just saying, worry about that game a little bit.
So there's one in between those 2 opponents.
Oh, the Miami game?
Yeah.
I feel good about us there, man. I feel really good. I'm going to take it on down to South Florida, watch that ass beaten in person. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be there in the stands to tell them about it. Talk to them about it, their feelings as they're watching it happen. I like that. I enjoy those moments. I've done that for the better part of 40 years. Having been there in some of the biggest moments that we were victorious, also in the moments in which they got to do that to me. Oh, and they take the opportunity. But so do I. So it'll be fun. Good times. Preston, I'm not getting down with Adrian Martinez at 30-1, but I do want to tell you something. I want to tell you this. Your boy here brought it up on the air. You heard my picks with my mother. Do you recall me picking the Jets on the road at Lambeau against Green Bay? Do you recall me taking New England as well to go into Cleveland and dominate? Well, I put my money where my mouth is and put a 2-game money line parlay over the weekend at plus 750. Got to win them outright. Got to win them outright. Got to win them both to cash. And they cashed, baby. They cashed because your boy did. Bet him money line outright. Parlayed those bitches.
Why are you here?
Boom!
Why are you here? Why haven't you retired?
Because I didn't bet $10,000 like I should have. But I did win that bet, and I boldly proclaimed the Jets would not only win. I said they're a better team than the Packers, and they'll go into Lambeau and win. They dominated that game. It wasn't very competitive. That's where we're at.
The NFL gods are smiling upon you right now.
That's 2 weeks in a row. I had a 4-team money line parlay the week before. Suck it, NFL, but betting gods, all of you. I'm a money line parlay genius.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
There's only one game.
Yeah, I should have probably pulled this up. My friends at Tulula are like, what are you doing, man? You got to
Delta plus 750.
All right, Aaron Savale, Jamison Tyon, you two at 7 o'clock tonight in the Bronx. Let's go, Guardians. Get it done, baby.
Let's go, Guardians.
Let's go, Guardians.
It sounds so silly.
Let's go, Guardians. Also, I would tell you, way to go, Phils. Way to go, Phils. Braves weren't even competitive in that series. Pasted.
Now go Padres.
That was fun to watch. An 111-win Dodger team get bounced. Good work out of you. Good work, Matthew. Be well, everybody. Take care. Hang in there. We're all right. We're going to be all right.